Today is episode 3 of my blog. I'm just going to read it out loud, annotate it with some of the things thoughts that I've had since I wrote it. Enjoy. A Builder's Diary, Episode 3, Autopsy. After 2 months building Lucile, the subscription platform for service professionals, we found ourselves right back at the whiteboard. Before chasing the next idea, I had to take a step back and confront a simple question: why? For any company, execution is paramount. For a startup, execution is survival. The speed at which we iterate, how quickly we see an idea sink or swim, is our pulse. Move too fast and we burn out. Move too slowly and we lose momentum. The art is in striking the balance. Our initial division of labor was that Ryan and I would handle all the application level engineering and Eric would be hyper focused on the AI deliverables. For Lucille, that meant creating an AI scheduler that would allow service businesses to operate at a higher efficiency. Removing a dispatcher would be a savings of a minimum 40,000 US dollars, not to mention the fact that an AI dispatcher was 24/7. Is your dispatcher working Sunday night? I don't think so. As Ryan and I were rapidly iterating on the bulk of the app, our ability to deliver on our dispatcher was a hindrance on the entire product. I would frequently ask for demos, and even when I got one, they were never really impressive. It was almost as if I was being sold on a dream. My mistake, one which you cannot allow yourself to ever make, was taking my eye off the details. The AI portion of our app was by far the most technically challenging, and delegating that entirely to one person was never a sustainable approach. My hesitancy to learn the building blocks of the scheduler resulted in my being unable to critically assess my co-founder's efforts. I was at the mercy of his will, and as a CEO, that's never acceptable. That's not to say I need my hands on everything. Rather, there definitely is space for entrusting others. You just can't, however, blindly hope that your vision will be executed by another. The elephant in the room is that the devil is in the details. The second you take your eye off of it, you have committed a cardinal sin. I have always been obsessive about my work. In college, I studied mathematics, and for the first few years, wrote all my solutions by hand. Almost every week, I would spend hours completely rewriting my homework because my handwriting wasn't up to my standard. In fact, this happened so frequently that I taught myself a mathematical typeset, LaTeX, so that my work was as presentable as possible. As you can imagine, this level of obsession only intensified as I built my own company. I buried my head in every little detail, and when it wasn't up to my standard, I lost it. Rather than clearly articulating what could have been better, I would sit there and fix the issues myself. Of course, that's great, but in reality, this was a disservice to my co-founders. I robbed them of a golden opportunity to learn. What's more, perhaps they had a keen insight that I did not. Building a company with complete strangers is a little like trying to marry someone you just met. Of course, some have done it, but common sense dictates that it's not the right move. I could go on ad nauseum about why I believe service professionals desperately needed to adopt a subscription based model. In fact, even as I write this, I'm just as passionate about the thesis. You could fairly call me a subscription evangelist. I mean, just look at Microsoft. There was a time when you could install the entire Microsoft Office suite from a disk. Now I have to pay $12 a month just to keep them off my back. And they're not alone. The subscription model has become a dominant engine in the growth of tech. Even watching football requires a subscription these days. The subscription gospel, however, always fell on deaf ears. Nearly every person that I called told me outright that my idea was either stupid or a complete waste of time. Let's look at that again. Either I was stupid or a complete waste of time. Which one is worse? I had one person go as far as to tell me that AI would replace my job. What the hell did that person think my job was? As I talked to these professionals, it dawned on me that the market, namely service businesses, was not ready to completely switch their business model. After all, what did a bunch of computer geeks know about running a service business? Absolutely nothing. After a month of cold calls, emails, and walking up and down the streets knocking on businesses door to door, we made the conclusion that our namesake, Lucile, was going to have to take its rightful place in the endless abyss of failed ideas. The Sisyphean task of converting service professionals to the subscription model was a hill we briefly walked but readily abandoned. I recently read an article on the power of quitting featuring Annie Duke, an American poker legend. The premise was that most founders suck at quitting. They become so obsessed with the idea of success that in reality become enamored with their failure. Let me say that again. You become so obsessed with the illusion of success that you marry your failures. I cannot think of a better way to describe quitting. Quitting is not failure. In fact, it can be a founder's trump card. Case in point, I could have forced my team. I could have forced them to keep churning out the outbound approach, but I knew that it just wasn't worth risking the stability of what we had. If it was going to come between this idea and my team, I would choose my team every day in a heartbeat. This concludes episode 3, Autopsy. Again, my name is Jonathan, and I've built Lucile Incorporated. We've been working for 7 months. We just released our latest app. It's Purr. It's an AI conversational coach. It's available on the Apple Store under the name Purr by Lucile, and it's also available in the Google Play Store under the name Purr. That's Purr, Purr, and Lucile is Lucile. Stay tuned for more.